I just want to thank you so much for your time, because when we talked the other day on They, Them, Us, I got the feeling that I needed to know more about you. Isn't that just a crazy feeling?
I love that. I love that.
So
and here we are. Here we are a week or two later. We made it happen.
And you're a native New Yorker.
I'm a native New York Stater. I would not be, a lot of people say they're from New York, implying that they grew up in New York City. I did not. I grew up on Long Island. But I moved to New York City after college for graduate school. So I've been here for quite a while. Yeah.
Do you remember when you got the kind of acting bug? Were you always performing as a little kid?
Yes, I do remember. I mean, I was the youngest of five, or am the youngest of five. My family's very creative and very musical. My mom did a lot of community theater when we were growing up. And I was in, I want to say, third grade. And I was in the chorus at school, and the head of the chorus gave me, the music teacher gave me a solo in the spring concert, and I just loved that, and that was fun. And I mean, I kind of killed it, and it was fun. And that was kind of the beginning of me saying, oh, this is really neat. I really enjoy this, but also for other people, like my parents and things, to say, oh, wow, she kind of can do this. She has that thing. So yeah, that was the beginning. Yeah, that was the bug.
And in going to high school and all that, did you do the musical theater stuff in school? And
I did a little bit, but I was already working professionally. I started working when I was around 11. I joined Screen Actors Guild when I was 12. So I worked quite a bit in those 12, 13, 14, 15 years. I was doing a lot of commercials, a lot of voiceovers. I was having a blast. This was back in the golden age of commercials, really, where, we were doing song and dance things where we would go into the recording studio, record a little mini soundtrack with a full orchestra for a 60-second commercial for, Duncan Hines or whatever. And then we would go upstate for a week and shoot this enormous, commercial campaign. And I mean, it was so much fun, and just really creative and very exciting. So by the time I got to high school, I kind of was already working for a handful of years and didn't really have time to do the theater at school. But when there were when they did The Wizard of Oz, for example, I said, you know what? I'm going to book out from going into the city for auditions. I want to do The Wizard of Oz in my high school. So, I did play Dorothy, when I think I was a senior.
Of course you did. Of course you had the starring role.
Well, I mean, I wanted to have fun doing those things with my friends at school too. So I was able to juggle kind of both.
Do you remember getting your SAG card? Do you remember, was that exciting?
Yeah, I remember the job that I got it for. It was speaking of one of these song and dance ridiculous commercials. It was for a commercial for Murphy's Oil Soap, which played for years. That was it's the second union job that you get is when you're a must join. So that was the job that I got my union card on. And I felt very special. I felt like, wow, I'm a part of this club now. And I took it seriously. I still do. I feel like I'm a very big union advocate.
Well, they do a lot for everybody. I mean, it's
First and foremost, they keep us safe on set, which, as we know, is a very important thing, and we can't give short shrift to that.
No, of course not. But in growing up in this business, though, I mean, I imagine that every set you've been on has been an education.
Absolutely, and I love it, and I'm still learning.
Well,
I'm fascinated by all the different departments, and as I've gotten older and learned more, it's just I admire so much the tradespeople and the artists who come together to even just make a commercial, make a TV show, make a film, a huge film, a tiny film.
You've worked on both. You've worked on big things and small things.
Mm-hmm.
Is there more freedom on an independent film there is on a big budget movie, or is it all the same? Is filmmaking?
Filmmaking is filmmaking. I wouldn't necessarily say that there's more freedom on a tiny independent film, because you're hemmed in with a budget. You're really shooting 19 days, 20 if you're really lucky. You have really, really slim crews. So it's, there's not, it's 5 grips, there's one. So it's not so much freedom, it's more that when you're restricted like that, you're forced to be creative. So that's a different kind of freedom, I think. I did an independent film a few years ago called How He Fell in Love. And we really shot that. Ruben O'Malley was our DP, who was great. And we shot that with basically like available light, a light bulb, and a piece of muslin. And that was it. We just, there were no gadgets and gizmos and fancy lighting packages on that film. I mean, I gave him so much credit. He made me look great in that movie. And I can't tell you how many times we threw a piece of muslin, white fabric under my face right out of frame. And the magic that it brightens your whole face up. These are the things that are, it's not freedom, but it's creativity forced by, we've got no money. So here's how we're going to do this. Let's figure out how to make it work. And I'm really inspired by that.
I think you learn all those things when you don't have money. You have to we made, dollies out of shopping carts when we were doing films early on. And
absolutely. I love that kind of stuff. I think it's hilarious.
Working on both ends. I mean, you're making movies sometimes for the catering budget, on
that's right.
a bigger thing.
Didn't you say that the catering budget on Homeland was, more than the total budget on They Them Us? And you might not be wrong. There was a big cast and crew on that show. A lot of people to feed.
But I think independent movies, you tend, or the smaller budget films, are acts of love, and a lot of actors will do the big stuff so they can do the smaller stuff. That's
I mean, not don't get me wrong. I love working on things like Homeland. I mean, I've been fortunate enough that the bigger stuff that I work on tends to be really beautiful quality, and great writing and great creatives. But I'd be lying if I didn't say that, I can work on 13 Reasons Why for a few years and then afford to go run off and do a handful of indies, because it's hard to pay the bills off of indies, to be honest with you. I'm, a mom, I've got 2 kids, I'm living in New York City. You need to pay the bills.
Millions of people are losing their dental coverage every year or can't afford dental care due to the high cost. Just a simple cleaning can cost over $100. But there is an answer, TDA. For about $1 a day, Total Dental Administrators covers over 200 dental procedures. Whether you're an individual, a family, self-employed, or retired, TDA has a plan that's right for you, starting about $1 a day. So call or click for your free information kit and see how affordable dental health can be.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
Was Brain Scan your first major film?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, big time. What a shock!
Furlong and
Frank Langella.
I love Frank Langella. I'm one of the most interesting actors of our time.
Yeah, great career, lovely man. Yeah, I was floored. I had just finished my master's at NYU in May, and then auditioned for this, basically horror movie, but a huge, studio feature, and ended up booking it. And I couldn't believe it. So, within a month or two of finishing my master's in political science at NYU, I was, flying to Montreal for the summer to shoot this huge movie. I'd never been on a set like that. That was insane. It was, very, very, very big deal for me and a lot of fun. And a cult classic. People love that movie.
Well, it is. It's a wonderful film and great for a Saturday night. I'm pitching it right now so people will watch it.
I'm excited. Can they find it? I think it's out there somewhere.
It's on Prime, I believe, and you can rent it for $3 and just sit back and enjoy it. But you've done, you do your work as far as character. You go back and you figure out who your character is. As every actor should, but that's a process is that learned from your youth to do that, or do you just normally figure out who your character is before you shoot?
That's a great question. I mean, in terms of, I'm completely untrained. I kind of figured this out as I went along. So luckily I've had many, many years to kind of observe and watch and learn and work with amazing actors and directors and kind of cobble together what my own, what works for me. And for me, it just starts and ends on the page. And I just go back to that script over and over and over and over again. And I find something new every time I comb through it. And I just spend a lot of time with my thoughts. And I don't know. It's sometimes I feel silly talking about process because it's hard to kind of like quantify what happens kind of inside me. But I find, it starts and ends on the page. And when you become so familiar with the material that you can kind of just internalize it and let it go, then you're really free to kind of look the other actor in the eye, hear what they're saying, and just drop into it and just be there. Because ultimately the goal is to just forget about everything else and just connect. So
I talk with a lot of people, and there's so many different preps that people do. I know actresses that put together playlists that they think their character will listen to get them into the mood and into the zone.
I've done that. I've done that when I do theater. I find that helps me drop into certain kind of like a mindset. And it's not necessarily like I'm thinking of a period piece I did called Years of Sky. It took place in the 80s. Well, my section, it was like from the 60s to the 80s. And the music that I listened to wasn't like it particularly, it wasn't period. It wasn't 80s music, but it was more of like the vibe of the music helped me get into the kind of the feeling of the scene as I was going into it. So yeah, I've done that. I'm kind of like a whatever works kind of process.
And that's great. You're always experimenting, and with experimentation comes growth, I think.
Yes, exactly. And you need to be open and be, evolving. I've also used, go ahead.
Oh, before we talk about they, them, us.
Yes.
I have a question for you that I've been just anxious to ask you. In the movie, Station Agent, there's a thank you for you.
Oh.
What did you do?
Someone's done their homework. Tom McCarthy and I are very old friends. We did a movie together in 1997, possibly 97, a Hallmark Hall of Fame. Remember those? CBS Movie of the Week, very posh, called Saint Maybe, that was based on a novel by Ann Tyler. We spent a lot of time in North Carolina together with Blythe Danner, Mary Louise Parker, Jeffrey Nordling was in that, Edward Herman, rest in peace, was in that. Beautiful cast. We played this kind of extended family. And Tom and I became friends through that project. So when we came back to New York, he was living in New York. I still lived in New York at the time. He had mentioned, I'm writing a screenplay. And I roll my eyes because I'm like, every actor's writing a screenplay. And he said, could I have you read it and give me notes? I was like, okay, sure. So he gave me, a hard copy of his script at the time because there was no email yet, because it was the dawn of, it was like the Middle Ages. I read his script. I invited him over to give him notes. And I remember being like, well, and he wrote this for Peter Dinklage, who I had never seen. I had no idea who Peter Dinklage was. They were friends already. And he's like, trust me, Peter Dinklage is like this amazing actor. He's very charismatic. He's very interesting. So just, you don't know him, but trust me on that. Okay. So I read it and I remember being like, all right, well, it's about trains, train station. It's kind of boring. Like it's all right. Yeah. All right. And I gave him very specific notes about this. I don't even remember, but I was like, good luck with you. And then, a year later, he's winning Sundance and I'm, having a baby. And so that's why I got thanks on that. And I'm happy to report that Tom and I are still very good friends, and I'm thrilled for his success. And he then became my boss on 13 Reasons Why, or one of my bosses.
Station Agent, honestly, is one of my top favorite films of all time.
Oh, wow. Well, that's nice.
Junket.
No thanks to me, who was like, I don't know, trains?
Without your input. No, I did the junket for it. I did,
really?
I for a long time. Bobby Cannavale, Patricia Clark.
Bobby's great. Yeah, great in that.
What a great cast that was.
Yeah. And I did actually, when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. So, we learn all the time. We learn all the time, Tony.
As a single mom, I want to make sure my kids have healthy teeth. Going to the dentist can be expensive. Just a simple cleaning can cost over $100. Then I found TDA, and for about $1 a day, Total Dental Administrators covers my family on over 200 dental procedures. Whether you're an individual, a family, self-employed, or retired, your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these policies. Call or click for your free information kit and see how affordable dental health can be.
They, them, us is funny.
It is, right? It's very sweet.
It's very sweet, but it touches on BDSM and it touches on growth sexually, growth as a parent.
Yeah.
It is such an involved movie which is what I love, because I don't want it to be about one thing. I want it to be about the experience of what these two people are going through.
Yeah. I'm glad you're saying that. It's kind of chock full. And I think that makes it very real. That's life. Life isn't one thing at one time. It kind of comes at you from all sides.
It's so well shot, and it looks like you guys had a blast doing it.
We had a blast within reason because, again, we rolled cameras like August 1st of 2020. We were one of the first projects to go back after, SAG-AFTRA and all the, unions agreed on the protocols, the COVID protocols. So we were having a blast in the actual making of it. But, as soon as we called cut, it was everybody masked up, and the weekends, we were in our bubble, and no one's going out, no one's interacting with each other. We just had to be very, very safe. And we got through 5 weeks with no COVID positives, which was kind of amazing.
I know that they had to shut down the Picard set, at Paramount 4 or 5 times because people just kept getting it.
Yeah. And especially now with Omicron, a lot's getting shut down again.
Yeah, I'm just staying home now, and I'm, hiding.
Yeah.
Thank God I'm a good cook, because I can do restaurant quality stuff,
I love that. Restaurant quality is very good.
You guys are coming out to Salt Lake, and I'm going to have you up for dinner. We're just going to cook.
I love it. Next when Sundance is back for real. I just found out I'm going to a film that I did last year is going to South by Southwest called Linoleum.
Yes, and my friend Jim Gaffigan is in it. I was going to ask you about that because Jim and I have known each other forever.
Really? Okay. What a great guy.
He's such an underrated actor too, because we think of him as a stand-up comic, but he can be really scary.
Yes, I haven't seen that side of him. Well, I mean, no, not in this. But we have some fun moments together. I play his sister-in-law, and there's no spoilers, but there's no love lost between us. So we had fun kind of needling each other a little bit.
You play Linda.
I play Aunt Linda.
Yeah.
Who is Ray Seahorn's sister. I don't know what I can give away. I'm terrible at doing like the elevator pitch, the synopsis, but it's a very, what?
We'll just tell people to see it. You don't have
go
to
see it. Yeah. But it's really, really fun and funny and sweet and weird in a good way. And I mean, Tony Shalhoub, Michael Ian Black, like the supported Caitlin Nakan, who I'm a super fan of because I love The Walking Dead. I'm a zombie fan, and she was in that. So I got to work with her, which, you'd think I'd be more excited about Tony Shalhoub or Jim Gaffigan, but being a zombie fan, I was like, oh my God, it's Caitlin Nakan, who's adorable and very talented. So
I was going to ask you about Tony Shalhoub because he's one of my favorite people in the world, because he's such a meticulous actor.
Yeah. And what a career. Sadly, I have no scenes with Tony Shalhoub. So I did not work with him, but I'm sure he's fabulous. And I heard he had actually been in and rapped before I got to set, and high praise all around from everybody, of course, because he was lovely.
Well, that's but you work with Jim, right?
Worked with Jim. I worked with Ray. I worked with Caitlin, the Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You enjoy going to film festivals?
Yeah. Oh, it's so fun. They're exhausting. I feel like when
Yeah,
did
you
did,
came
did
in.
I?
I know you did.
It's such a blur. It's, you know how it is. It's so what's the name of your lounge, or what is it? What is it?
We did the Eco Lounge at one year, and then
Okay.
we did the Digital Lounge.
Okay. That rings a bell.
But
Yeah.
Jim always comes in when he's in town, and
Yeah.
we feed everybody and massages.
See? Food is good, and
Yeah.
massages are good too.
This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month. Amy, I am just so jazzed that we've become friends, and thank
too,
you so
Tony.
much for your time today.
Yep. Keep me posted, and I'll see you out at Sundance next
You
time.
will, and I'll cook for you. People know that
I love
this is a real interview because we keep talking on each other, and I
Exactly. Exactly.
like that a lot. This portion of Screen Chatter is presented by VP Dental. Check out our great dental plans starting at just $16 per month.